Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to LCK Summer 2020. I'm Atlas, joined by the Valdanalist here for our final match of the night. I apologize, we started a little bit late here because our first series went so long. Congratulations to Afrika for once again walking away with a 2-1 victory, but now it is time for both T1 and Hanwha Life's revenge after their first matches were a little bit disappointing. Both teams falling 1-2 in their first outings. And we'll see whether T1 have something in store for us, because it's not what we're expecting out of our LCK Spring Champions.
Yeah, I mean, their first games, their first series were a bit disappointing for both teams, and I feel like they were disappointing in different ways, right? T1 was going up against one of the strongest teams currently in Korea. They fell a little bit short, but they came close, right? They did take one game off of DRX, and they've defeated them in the past. We expect more, even so, from T1. Whereas Hanwha Life went down to Prince, and it was
SBP.
It was kind of all over the place. I mean, they brought in a bunch of rookies to sub for the top side, and their veterans did not play very well. Speaking of Kyve and Haru up at the top side, and so even the mid lane too, Lava didn't have a great series. As we're seeing here in one of our points of the match, how is Hanwha Life going to deal with Faker is a really, it's a great question.
Yeah. And I think one of the reasons why the DRX series was so hard for T1 is because Chovy exists, right? And he has been performing extraordinarily well. Not to mention Carrier being, arguably the best support in the world at the moment. He is playing out of his mind levels of good. But I think Faker is going to have a much better time here today because, Tempt is no longer on the roster. Tempt had a lot of experience against Faker. Lava, not quite so much. But I don't know whether you guys have heard the whisperings, but there has been, some changes when it comes to the rosters of both of these teams moving into this particular match. So we're not going to spoil anything just yet, but let me just say that some eyebrows were perched a little bit higher than they otherwise would be after having a look at the starting rosters for today.
Yes, definitely some uncomfortable eyebrows for sure, but we'll see how comfortable they get after watching the play of the two players that are being subbed in and subbed out.
Wow, we are getting real deep into
one
spoilers.
For each team. You guys can find it on Twitter.
Remember, last time out, T1 lost to Hanwha in their first round robin. So looking forward to seeing whether T1 are going to make the same mistakes again. Remember, I believe that was their first match of the season as well, or one of their first matches. T1 actually fell down 0-2, I believe, in the first week. So match 5.
It was either their first or second.
Yeah, it had to have been either their first or second, right? If it was the 5th match of the season. So, very even as far as 2020 is concerned, and we'll see whether T1 are going to be able to bounce back or whether Hanwha are going to find themselves some stride. Because remember, at the end of the season, things didn't look so good. So let's hear what the players had to say to each other.
강팀 상대로 강하다는 이야기가 있는데
하나가 굉장히 변칙적으로 플레이를 하는 것을 좋아하기 때문에 강팀 상대로 성적이 좋았던 것 같은데 오히려 하나 팀의 플레이 스타일을 이제 더 잘 알기 때문에 좀 더 쉽게 이길 거라고 생각합니다. 그때보다는.
진짜 강팀 판독기가 아니라 저희가 강팀이 될 수 있게
고개를 안 숙이게 열심히 해야 될 것 같습니다.
바텀이 가장 핵심 라인인 것 같아요.
작년부터 이제 바이퍼 리엔즈 선수가 계속 정규 시즌 1등 했잖아요. 그래서 굉장히 강한 바텀 듀오라고 생각해서 리엔즈 선수가 또 친해가지고 지면 안 되기 때문에.
테디 선수 머리가 진짜 크거든요. 진짜 매 달마다 커지거든요. 빨리 테디 선수 머리를 보고 싶습니다.
일단 머리가 크긴 하고요. 슈를 보면 좀 웃긴 게 약간 맨날 원숭이단이라고 제가 놀리거든요. 원숭이 닮았다고.
네, 테디 선수가 야수 한 번만 더 해줬으면 좋겠어요.
제가 야수가 할 수도 있고요. 저쪽에서도 이제 달리아 판테온이라는 챔피언을 좀 더 생각이 있나 궁금하네요. 네.
판테온 달리아. 판테온 달리아는 웬만하면 안 할 것 같아요. 네, 저 이제 거기서 느낀 게 많아서. 네.
뭐 야수를 하든 뭐 다른 챔프를 하든 뭘 해도 이길 것 같아요. 작년 스프링 결승이었나요? 저희를 쉽게 이긴다 했는데 저희한테 쉽게 졌더라고요. 그래서 그 자신감은 또 자만일 때도 또 있어가지고 자신감이 넘치지 않나 우리 시도가. 그 자만을 좀 꺾어줘야겠네.
테디야, 작년에 잘했는데 이번 연도엔 좀 아쉽더라. 재밌는 경기 하자.
하나생명 리빌딩도 많이 되고 그래서 저희는 이제 되게 호흡도 잘 맞는 단계이기 때문에 깔끔하게 2대0으로 이기도록 하겠습니다.
누가 이기든 2대1로 이기지 않을까. T1이 뭐 저희에게 저도 절대 부끄러운 게 아니니까 고개 잘 들었으면 좋겠네요.
저희 팀은 아마 고개를 숙이진 않을 것 같아요. 고개를 숙이는 건 아마 하나생명이 되지 않을까.
T1이 상대적으로 강팀인데 되게 잡으면 또 재밌잖아요. 네, 재밌는 모습 많이 보여드리도록 하겠습니다.
저희가 이길 거니까 그럴 일은 없을 것 같습니다. 스프링 때도 하나생명이 T1에게 좀 스크래치를 냈듯이 이번엔 진짜 아픈 상처를 한번 제대로 한번 내보겠습니다.
Some friendly banter between, friends here as far as the trash talk was concerned. I think T1 definitely feeling confident here, but they have to also feel pretty wounded as there you go. There's your first surprise. Effort not going to be playing. It's a long-time trainee, Curry, who's going to be heading towards that bottom lane alongside Teddy. So, not sure why Effort got subbed out. He was performing relatively well, although didn't have his greatest series, but he was against Carrier, and that makes it relatively difficult.
I don't think losing to Korea deserves you a chance to get subbed out, but they want to give Korea a chance. Who, by the way, he was named after Charlotte Katakuri from One Piece. I've never seen that anime, but I know it's very popular. You guys might know of it. And over here, yeah, I haven't seen it. Of course I haven't.
Perfect.
And over here, lots of changes. Dudu is coming back. So is the Canadian dollar CAD, and then Miru in the mid lane. I guess we could call him Miru.
Yeah, I think Miru is probably easier for me, but I think Miru is probably how it's pronounced.
Yes.
Officially, Viper and Lahens, of course, no strangers there. His key player is going to be Canna. The man has got some pretty good stats thus far, and he lost on his Kale, but it did look pretty good until the game sort of was lost around him. I think a lot of the issues with that game had to do with him not necessarily playing as one with his team, so I expect that Coach Kim's probably had a bit of a conversation with Canna about that, and we're going to see a different performance here today.
Yeah. To be honest with you guys, I feel like he is being highlighted here because of his high numbers in the first series, but we'll see if he can keep those up as he is going to be going up. Oh, well, his team is going to be going up against Viper in the 80 carry role here, who also has some nice numbers of his own, even though Hanwha Life did lose in 3 games to Seodaewon Prince. He did have the most damage per minute out of any 80 carry, which is quite nice.
Absolutely insane. Highest damage percentage as well as far as his team, so certainly carrying a lot is good old Viper. Has a lot to do with the fact that Lahens was given Yuumi multiple games in a row.
Yeah.
Which was crazy because they lost the series as well. So certainly not able to capitalize on that one as we're having a look at Curry here making his debut. It's so interesting because it feels like they're just subbing everyone out. It's Faker that's the only one that hasn't been dropped. Of course, Effort has been on the team for a very long time. He's second longest standing member of T1 still there behind Faker. So we have finally seen the full change-up of almost everyone outside of the Demon King in the mid lane.
And we did give a little bit of background on Kuri, but Miru himself, that's actually the pure Korean word for dragon. He is born in the year of the dragon, 2001.
Oh my god,
And
I'm born in the year of the dragon.
Yes, but not
1988.
2001. Boomer.
Oh, it's so depressing.
I don't know if I can call you a boomer when I'm only 3 years younger than you.
Yeah.
I don't think it works that way. Boomer is a mindset, actually.
In my mind, I'm 12, don't you worry.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
That's why we cast video games for children.
We'll cast video games like children, one of the two.
Yeah.
Here we are in Pick and Ban to save us from that conversation as T1 will be on the blue side. Hanwha Life going to be on the red. And the first ban will be the Yuumi. So we're just not playing into any of those shenanigans. As Yuumi set to be followed up by, of course, the quintessential Varus ban. Obviously, a thing that you have to do. And let us count the... Okay, well, never mind. Ezreal has been banned away, and Hanwha Life don't have to deal with the rock, paper, scissors.
Aphelios? Ban, maybe? Well, I don't know. They have first picks.
I mean,
Maybe they're not
Kalista
gonna
is
ban it.
also something to talk about.
Yeah.
And Karma is, I think, a huge deal.
Karma definitely has been seeing a lot of priority nowadays with how much value she just adds to her team. She's not going to destroy lane, but she is going to just boost your team heavily in the mid to late stages with her very cheap item build and supportive abilities to shield everyone. Everybody knows about Karma, and they are actually going to ban it. So they're looking for a different first pick here. Maybe it'll be Trundle. We've seen a lot of teams highlight the Trundle, and neither of those, Trundle or Aphelios, are going to be banned out here.
Kalista is available as well. She was perma-banned in our first series and has received a lot of attention. And that is what T1 are going to go towards. It looks like they are valuing Teddy's Kalista. I think this is actually very different to a lot of people's Kalistas. Teddy's Kalista feels like a late-game hyper carry when...
TF.
Oh, okay.
Forgot
TF
about
was left.
him.
Yep, he was left open. Never mind. Never mind.
Yeah.
This makes a lot of sense.
He was banned every game in our first
Ooh,
series.
someone was watching our first series.
Yeah. What else is new? Aphelios, Trundle. I bet you're also going to pick Nautilus. Very original, sirs.
Now, T1 have got it. They now can pick Kalista Nautilus.
Whoa.
And then, what does Hanwha Life do? You can't pick Nautilus. It's all over.
Thresh, I feel like, is also good, but Nautilus definitely another one of those friends of Kalista.
Kalista Tarot could also just be locked in here if T1 wanted to.
Now, we have a couple of champions that Curry is good at. We see Bard, Yuumi, Thresh. I don't think we'll see the Bard picked.
I mean, Thresh
Kalista.
could happen, I guess, but that does leave Nautilus available.
Yeah.
I think they're just going to pick Nautilus.
It's great for counterpicking. Really depends on how much they value, you know, certain other Kalista lanes versus wanting to take it away. Or they could wait
All right.
and
T1,
prioritize Nidalee.
what they've done is they've absorbed the powers of DRX, because I believe DRX played a very similar comp against them. With the Nidalee and Twisted Fate especially, was something that worked out for DRX quite well. So they've taken a leaf out of that book. Of course, Cuz is a legacy Nidalee player. He played Nidalee off meta all the time. And Faker needs no introduction when it comes to playing Twisted Fate. When you've been playing professionally since, you know, very, very long time ago, 2013, you've probably been in a few Twisted Fate metas. That's just how it works. As the Nautilus is going to be banned away on Hanwha Life's side. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they could have left that available for themselves to pick on R4 or to get T1 to ban it away. But I guess Lehens was not really feeling playing a Nautilus this time around. Ornn also going to be taken off. You think about Syndra for mid-game power, Aphelios for mid to late game power, and then Ornn to accelerate that.
Also, Ornn being paired with Trundle is something that can be very difficult to deal with because it's hard to match tank for tank when your tank's going to have all of his resistances removed. Aatrox going to be taken off the board. Just a pretty standard one, as the Wukong is going to be the answer. So, topside centric outside of the Nautilus, as Viper is thinking about what to grab for Lehens. Now, Lehens we know as being more of an enchanter support centric type player, so you can understand why he doesn't necessarily want to play the Nautilus. But as I say that, Thresh is being hovered and will be locked in for a lot of repositioning. I actually think Lantern has gigantic value when you have both Aphelios and the Syndra. Imagine debuting in the LCK on Blitzcrank.
Hey, I wouldn't mind that. I think he'd gain a lot of fans. And it doesn't seem half bad when you consider if you hook Aphelios, he just dies. If you hook Syndra, she just dies. And, I mean, he's getting a lot of value. He can be very good in the lane up against Aphelios Thresh. I actually do like the pick. Blitzcrank is very niche. We rarely see him. But in certain spots like this, I don't mind it.
It's also not as dangerous when paired with the Kalista. So it does work out very well. A blind Camille would be crazy, but I do like it. Think about the split push potential of this composition out of T1 with Twisted Fate and Camille both in side lanes. And that's playing with your composition face up, but of course you have to once you've locked everything in. And it's going to be Mordekaiser as the option into the Camille. Not sure about that.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I think it will do decently earlier on, but as you were mentioning, that split pushing power, I think Mordekaiser can kind of get overwhelmed eventually if they're just running down the lane with one or two of them. But certainly will have some value in team fights when it comes to it. There's a lot of squishy members that don't have too much mobility that you could try to lock down. Obviously, Nidalee, in terms of like locking her down and then just essentially blowing her up in a team fight would be great, because you also do deny the smite. So don't think it's that bad that they do last pick that one there.
Yep. Kesman, Coach Kim, walk on out. And here we go. This is going to be your pick split push style composition from T1, Blitzcrank and the Kalista on the bottom side, TF, Nidalee, and then Camille on the top. And I feel like this is largely a finesse composition. You really do need to understand exactly how to make this comp work, but certainly T1 are a team that should be able to figure that one out. And on the side of Hanwha Life, it's like this is a slow-moving juggernaut of destruction. And they do want a team fight. Definitely easier to play, but certainly does have a lot of nuance, but it is more about the 5v5.
Yeah, that is for sure. Will we see another Aphelios destroy the Rift, as we saw earlier on today, is another question. Can they overcome Teddy and Kuri this time down in the bottom side?
Yeah. Also debuting on Blitzcrank, Kuri certainly knows how to fan service. Absolutely fantastic. As Ward goes down very early, and immediately Viper vacates the area. I do like the decision. As, oh
man,
that's dicey.
That's a pretty popular Ward spot, too. I'm surprised they didn't at least, you know, just walk over, try to deny it.
Yeah, well, that Ward is going to spot Lahens moving on into the enemy jungle.
They ping it. They know. They know they're spotted. The second he just waltzes into your jungle and puts down a ward, it's like, oh, okay, they know we're here. So
they need to spawn. So Kano's going to move back towards the top side. He's taking Grasp of the Undying in this matchup. Fearing the Mordekaiser makes a bit of sense. He is a gigantic walking suit of armor. Very scary. Does have a lot of heavy metal names, things like that. As once again, if at first you don't succeed, walk over the ward again and again and again. This might just be a play understanding that they do know exactly where the blue buff is, but they also know that there's no way that Hanwha Life can actually respond as CAD, or the Canadian dollar, as you do like to call him.
It's in all caps in the game, so that makes me happy.
Yeah.
Faker did miss one melee minion of XP, so GG. No, but it's
oh, first hook lands, as Lahens will take a fair bit of damage here as the Ren does come in. Viper will win the trade. Just Aphelios things, I guess. So the minion's doing a fair bit of work there as tactical sweep on to Dudu. And Kano actually, he performed very well in the Camille. That was the game that they won, I believe, against DRX.
Yeah.
So a comfort matchup, or at least a comfort pick for him. I don't know whether the Mordekaiser is necessarily the best option here. As level 2 gained by Teddy. Kuri a little bit behind as far as EXP, but does get it in the next minion's time.
I think this is... So it's showing their birth dates and also their debut dates. So birth dates are on top, debut dates are on the bottom.
Yep, CAD is very young, by the way, guys. As you can see, as Dudu gets his passive, starts thwacking onto Canna. Not exactly the healthiest of Mordekaisers, though. Still, in control of the wave, but pushed up very far. We'll see whether Cuz is going to make an entrance. This was the pick that Cuz was famous for before he even joined Kingzone, well back in the day. He was destroying solo queue on picks like the Nidalee. Although when he joined Kingzone, he was playing Zac almost every game.
Yeah. A different look.
It was.
For that player. And even after joining T1, I feel like only now, finally, is he giving some reign to try some other picks. with the Nidalee and stuff like that coming out here more into the meta. And it seems to be becoming more and more of a a meta pick against the Trundle. People are trying to figure out, how do we deal with this Trundle that is just really annoying to play against. It's not very obvious why he's so good, but he's just so often picked by all of these LCK teams especially.
Yeah, I think he does warp compositions because you do have to respect the subjugate. And not being able to freely pick a tank is quite difficult. As Korean Teddy just bouncing around this lane so far. No issues, apart from the fact that Teddy has a 10 CS advantage for some reason. We saw a bit of zoning, level 1 and 2, largely to do with that first hook landing here on Curry's side. He's also taken Ignite. There is no heal in this bottom lane.
Yeah.
Curry and Teddy very intent on killing their opponents.
And I feel like almost every Blitzcrank that plays in LCK Pro Play, at least, uses this skin. Is there?
I think every Blitzcrank just uses this skin.
Yeah, that's why I'm wondering. Like, is there some reason why that skin might be better than some other skin?
I don't think it's like the iBlitzcrank situation.
Oh boy, here we go.
All right. Rocking a hard place. It's where Dudu is, and there's the gold card. First Blood goes over to Canna. Faker easily tanks up the turret. He'll take himself a plate as well. And Mirror's just in the mid lane wondering what the heck he's supposed to do about it. He is ahead 10 CS, but that was a great first gank here, and Faker's not even level 6 yet. So he's going to be able to do that next level without even using a summoner spell.
Yeah, very nice gank, very straightforward. The jungler of Hanwha is down here towards the bottom side. They're going to trade the initial Ocean Drake here off the map for that play because jungle and mid all went top on the side of Team 1. So a bit of a trade, but it gets your split push Camille ahead, and it is just the one Ocean Drake, so I think this is absolutely a win for T1, no question there.
Yep.
As we're going to see, you see they're going to just wait until they have the hard CC. They're not even going to bother taking a chance because they don't need to. It gives you the free spear into the nice leap power, and then Camille can do her thing too. So very straightforward on the kill under the turret.
Yep, Faker now not too far behind as far as EXP as well, as they're going back top lane. Faker doesn't care about that minion wave whatsoever. As the Obliterate comes in, I believe he did have Death Realm, and Canna's in there at the moment, but they just waited out. And the Mordekaiser's dead again.
Yeah, he had Flash that time around, but the second the TP came in right behind him, he's like, well, I can't Flash out of this. But it might have been better to Flash under turret and then Death Realm. So that would be really his only chance of survival there. Definitely rough stuff when you're up against TF. This is part of the reason, one of the many, many reasons why teams have picked up TF in recent times. And Hanwha are going to look for their, well, okay, never mind.
Interesting.
Seems like
Teddy hadn't actually oath-sworn Curry yet. As, yeah, the robot. It is the Mad Life skin, by the way, guys. That's largely to do with why a lot of...
You think that's the reason?
I think it might be. You see Mad Life playing with this skin almost every single time. It's very old one. Been around for a real long time, as that hook does go wide. Hook in trade for the Lantern.
그냥 볼게 이거 안 되고 본다 이거 잠깐만 아직 탑 본다 탑 잡았어 아래 조심 천천히 밖에 우리만 있어 밖에 좋아
it's only us up on.
잡았어
outside.
푸른
Well done. Meanwhile, stealing all of Kana's CS while he's in the death chamber. Nicely done.
He sort of had to because he sacrificed an entire minion wave as he moved up towards top lane. And so it did mean that Faker didn't want to sacrifice his laning experience too much. But easily gets all of that farm. And 1-0-1 means that he's absolutely fine. Greenlight Vigil lands on the bottom side. With Gravitum there available, Teddy does have to use his Cleanse. And they get 2 summoner spells out of the Callista. Definitely good news. This is just getting cruel.
Death Realm not up right now.
Yeah, Dudu just not having a good time. Just gets stunned and destroyed all too easily. and Cuz will take down Shelly in the meantime. It's looking like a bit of a shellacking to start off with here, Valdanalist.
Yeah, and there's not really a lot of analysis that I can say about that either. It's just zero help on the top side. They go for this gank down the lane with level 5 Trundle onto a Callista that has Flash and Cleanse, right? Roots aren't going to do it. You either need to get the hook into, you know, the Gravitum, into multiple CCs to make that work. And even then, it's kind of risky. Same time, you're kind of leaving your Mordekaiser out to dry after he also already died twice. And he's pushing up a little bit too far as well. Not really giving enough respect to the current lane state. But now he has, well, he could have set up a nice little freeze for, you know, to really draw in Faker and Kana to get on in there. And I feel like I have to say it because LS isn't here. But what is the point of pushing that back? Because
then you definitely can't go near.
Then you're totally left out on an island if you push that lane out. So
well,
I don't know about that.
He took the Crocs. That was what he decided to do.
Great. He could have done that while, you know, the lane was pushing into him.
Yep. P.S. Destiny is available once again. The Mordekaiser doesn't have a turret. Faker can easily move up and take that one down if he would like to. However, Hanwha Life do make their way into the T1 jungle. Cuz here as well, trying to make sure that his chickens don't get stolen. And they don't, the big one at least. As T1 have a 3,000 gold lead. Teddy by himself here, as Curry's making his way back into this lane, but looks like Teddy's not too worried about it. And level 7 now gained, Blade of the Ruin King pretty close. And Cad's going to come down and see what he can do.
Yeah, Hanwha Life have this, you know, the early game has not been treating them very well because of the overall oppression of the Twisted Fate and the lack of response from Hanwha Life. But they did get that first Ocean Drake, so if they can rush this down and try to get out of there without losing too much and they can extend into potentially getting a soul, maybe then they might be able to come back in this one. It's one of their, you know, best bets for the current game state, which is obviously not very good for them right now. So it is going to be that Mountain Soul that is on the cards here, as T1 didn't necessarily get into position to hard answer, I suppose, or counter the Dragon Take, and they will just give that one over to Hanwha. Not too concerned.
Yeah, like it. Dudu actually walking all the way down there will have his teleport available in a couple of seconds, but that's a Trinity Force, guys. We're at 11 minutes into the game. Kana has a Trinity Force. I don't know. They Hanwha Life need to do something desperately.
They need to do something.
Do.
Yeah, they need to do-do-dunga something for sure right now. That's their only chance.
Yeah, because Dudu is definitely a bit of a do-don't at this point.
Oh.
Not working. That's what happens, you know. Mordekaiser is a pretty gankable champion, especially pre-6. But once he falls behind, I mean, what else is he supposed to do? I guess is the question. As Faker trying to avoid the orbs. He's not too worried about the situation. Rod of Ages is already completed. This counter is pushed underneath an inner turret now. And Curry is just lying in wait, ready for a potential rocket grab.
Wow. You can ward that brush from there?
Yeah, that's cool.
I actually didn't know that. I feel like I should know that. I don't know. Yeah, it looks like that actually did reach the brush. That's a nice little ward. Right up against the wall.
Interestingly enough, T1 have about 1 billion wards. On the bot side of the map, Mountain Drake isn't up for another 3 minutes time, however. And we'll see whether that just means that they're trying to make sure Teddy can get as much farm as safely as possible until his flash comes back up again, or what that is. But I have a feeling that T1 aren't going to be giving away another Drake without a fight. As Death Room comes down, Kana actually not surviving too well outside of that. But now, in comes Cad. There's the bad news for Kana. Easily, Cad just walks on over. So a little bit of an overextension there from Kana. Cost him his life.
Yeah, kind of interesting. I think if you see the Mordekaiser getting that aggressive, you have to know that Trundle's coming or Syndra's coming, so I think you should save your hook shot. And then Dudu pushes out for some reason. I don't know. He's obsessed with pushing the lane, and he is going to give another kill over after Oh, well, I guess he didn't get the kill, so he didn't reset his gold, but
He was
either
showing
way.
Canada that he could overextend better.
Yeah.
Yeah. You think you can overextend? Watch this.
Yeah. It's probably not the best thing to be the best at.
Yeah. Sometimes it's just all about the competition, though, and you just get a little bit overwhelmed.
Sure.
As Cuz, let's see who wins this popcorn chicken fight, as it somehow goes to Cuz. Finds himself the spear onto Cat as well. It's Faker, he's got his Sheen, and he's just looking to get to work on an inner turret in the top lane. As maybe Faker's joined the competition as well.
He is now that lane pusher, although it does look like they might switch it up now. It's 2 levels up.
Oh, sidestep was really nice.
Yeah.
Scanner's going to turn up as well. Hextech Ultimatum at the ready. Didn't actually use it in that last fight. It's Cuz is 2 levels ahead of Cad.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Cad spent a lot of the early game hanging around bot side. It's part of the reason why he was able to focus down the Drakes and get them the 2 Drakes, but it did mean that he wasn't participating in a lot of kills and lost a bunch of farms. So he hook shots here, and I'm thinking, I don't know, you gotta know that someone's coming at this point if Dudu's getting this aggressive. But
I mean, he was in the death realm, so...
But you can wait until you're out,
Yeah,
potentially,
yeah.
because that might be one of your only chances to get out. But I do understand that line of thinking, too, because he's really far ahead, and he's like, well, maybe I could trade onto him or something, but either way, it does end up being the kill given to the Trundle. Spares him a little bit of the blushes of the way that this jungle matchup has been going.
Yep, Shelly and Shelly both collected here by Cuz. 15.5 minutes into this one, and T1 retain close to 3,000 gold lead. Faker is very close to a Lich Bane as well. He is very, very rich. As we have a look at the gold, he's only ahead 700 over Miru, but Miru was sitting in that mid lane just farming things out. Currently has close to a 20 CS lead. It doesn't matter. It's not actually going to put you in the lead.
Yeah. You mentioned how T1's comp, it requires a bit more finesse to pilot. You need to be doing some small things very well, and that means a lot of roaming early game, a lot of you know, ganking side lanes and stuff like that, at least in the early game for a comp like this. They did it really well, whereas, okay, just gonna flash away from that one. I feel like Hanwha Life was just trying to, you know, get the basics down. They're like, okay, I'm a jungler, I'm going to get the dragons for my team, and they kind of let a lot of other things fall by the wayside, as T1 has been controlling the map for the most part outside of this dragon pit, but as you mentioned, they're not going to let this one go down without a fight.
Yeah, remember this is a split push comp. That's why you see Faker here on the bottom side, just destroying turrets while the rest of the team is milling about. And if Hanwha Life don't make quick decisions, they need to be decisive in this game. Otherwise, things will just slowly fall away from them. This is going to be a 50-50, though, as there's the Destiny. In goes Curry. We'll see who steals it, and it is going to be Cuz. As Curry goes in, 4-man knock-up, and Teddy doing so much damage. Curry is going to fall down, but the Mordekaiser is already dead. Canna secures that kill, and yeah, it's 1 for 1, but no soul point available for Hanwha Life. As T1 pick up their first Drake.
Yeah, perfect timing to collapse there. They get on in, and the spear, I think, actually was what did it for Cuz. Maybe he was the one who smited it right before the spear. Either way, a good combo for him to steal the Drake. So we're going to get another look at it here. He just positions himself right in the pit where there is no pressure. And
Wow, yeah, it was, I think.
yeah, it was his smite. So we didn't even see a smite out of Cad. And then Curry that was a great play, right? Throwing himself in, but the thing is the rest of his team was focusing down the Mordekaiser, because that's who they like to bully, not the rest of the team.
But also, at that point, like, the Mordekaiser, I guess he's 0-5, so he doesn't really do so much, so I guess my point is kind of moot, but dealing with him is
Still,
definitely good, and
yeah.
distracting the rest of the players is certainly also positive, as Viper steals away his own red buff. And I say steal because I feel like the jungle on Hanwha Life's side of the map does not belong to them anymore.
Yeah. I think if you're T1 here, the main thing you want to focus on is getting another kill onto the Mordekaiser. That would be my main word of advice. I think 5 kills on the rookie isn't enough. If you really want to get in his head, maybe 6 or 7 is a bit
you
better.
need to give him the full Nuggery treatment and see how he comes out of it. Noguri passed that test. He seems to enjoy dying multiple times and is still a happy boy. Goes into the next game completely unfazed. As Teddy takes a few extra chakrams that he didn't necessarily want. Faker over here will just collect his blue buff. But you can see the SKT vision. Oh. How sad.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Wow. He's just going to give up on that. He's like, actually, never mind. I'm just going to go top.
Well, I mean, that minion wave was about to die to the turret, so it does mean that he gets to extend the duration of that blue buff. It also delays the next one, so that's horses. Dudu is under a turret. That is definitely good news. And Death Realm does deter people from diving him, because of course then you have to deal with a guaranteed Tower and Mordekaiser versus 1. But Faker's got 8 stacks on his Rod of Ages. Lichbane is completed. Got massive stacks of control wards in the back pockets of the T1 players, and it looks like they're not even that pressured to put them down because Hanwha haven't been able to sweep their vision for a very long time. It's that suffocation that we talk about. You can see Faker's on the top side, you've got Camille on the bottom side, and Faker and Canna are just going to split push this game to the point where they're going to be so far ahead in gold. As T1 will just take down turrets, they'll keep getting side lane farm. TF cheats when it comes to side lane farm anyway and gets way more money for it. And Faker, of course, is a very good player, so he rolls very high when it comes to the stack deck.
True. He's getting a lot of gold there for sure.
It's very similar to the redemption effect of a Zoe player.
Yes.
If you're a good Zoe player, you get it at levels 4 every single game.
Yes. Also, proto belts, ignites, good stuff like that.
Yes.
Not ghosts. I mean, ghosts, you know.
You get super soakers as well.
Yeah,
Lots of
true,
super
true.
soakers.
There's a big difference, by the way, if you guys, you know, we were harping on, actually, about the Aphelios effect in the first series, but that was against a composition that didn't really play around Aphelios. They wanted to play, like, directly into him with stuff like Graves and Leona, and it didn't go very well for Fed Aphelios. And Viper sitting here, he had a relatively good laning phase that, in the very early game, it wasn't great, but now they're feeding him a bunch of farm. He does have 1 kill, one of the 2 that his team has, and you're thinking, oh, maybe the Aphelios effect is going to come in here. But this is a totally different composition that he's playing against. He has to go against split pushing. T1, I don't think, is ever going to try to go for a straight-up 5v5. They have the ability to pick with Blitzcrank, but I don't think they're going to be, you know, sending Camille into the back line, and, you know, that just doesn't, that's not the identity of their composition.
It's a split push gun, and that's exactly what works. Like you were saying, against the Aphelios. I think it's genius to, instead of saying, well, I guess we'll ban this and that's going to be our strategy, instead understand exactly what the champion's supposed to do and capitalize on it, right? I think that it's really, really cool. So thank you to Afrika and Team Dynamics for putting the idea into Humble Life's head. You just pick Aphelios and then you win. It's not how that one works. They do need Nautilus, so unfortunately didn't have that, as Destiny has been popped. Looks like T1 still want to deny Soul Point. Canna here towards the bottom side. And there's the Destiny. Faker gets down south of the Dragon. Wildcard starting to do a bit of damage here, as we'll see whether Cuz can get another steal. There's the Fate's Call as Miru flashes onto Cuz and takes him down. But the Drake is going to reset as Hanwha Life lose 2 in the process.
Pretty wonky there. I think that was some... that was like a crazy pull. Yeah.
Canna actually just teleported up there, so he was in the last fight. But that's definitely an ambitious teleport. They do get the teleport out of Dudu, though.
Yeah. He's like, maybe I have to help around the Dragon. Oh, well, maybe not. I'm just going to TP up here with the lane that I set up to potentially take down this turret.
That also means that T1 guarantee this Drake because Dudu teleported. I think it's actually a brilliant idea for Canada to get up there, because as soon as they use the teleport to stop the inhibitor turret going down, then they guarantee that they're not going to be getting back for a potential Drake fight.
That's...
okay.
You can do that, by the way. The Fate's Call with the pull.
Yep.
And it's like, oh.
The ultra reposition. Unfortunately, you know, having a Syndra right on top of your Kalista is probably not necessarily what you want ideally.
Yeah.
As Faker avoiding some orbs, gets rid of the first one, now lands himself the gold card, and Hanwha Life realize that they're not going to be able to chase after good old Twisted Fate with his Nikes on. His cowboy boots, man, they're pretty good.
for sure. He's just having fun with the Syndra in the side lane. TF, not very weak to the Syndra, but players or champions such as Nidalee and Kalista, as you're mentioning, can sometimes succumb to the insane burst damage that she does have. I do like the stopwatch pickup from Cuz after he just got bombed in the last one, just to make sure he can survive in the next fight.
Does have his Rod of Ages, started to stack a little bit earlier than the 30-minute one that Spirit put together. You have to remember, Spirit won that game, so it must have been a good idea.
Yes.
Baron has been
Results
scouted.
showed it.
Yeah.
So that's...
I've always been told that results-based analysis is the best kind of analysis.
Hell yeah, brother.
All right, T1 clearing out vision once again, just keeping this suffocation line, basically moving up the streetlights. Sort of what it goes. Like they go each block further and further forward. And it means that they know exactly where everyone is at all times. This bottom side is working out relatively well here for T1. Sorry, for Hanwha Life. As far as ward positioning, but the blue buff is something that Mirror is not going to be able to go anywhere near, even if it is just Teddy in the area, because they just don't have the information that they want. Faker secures that very comfortably and then moves back towards the split push once again. And you know what? This is actually just, it's such a treat to watch T1 play like this after how messy the DRX series was.
Yeah, they've certainly cleaned things up. The early game was crystal clean, and Hanwha really didn't have much of a response to it, so that's part of the reason why T1 are so far ahead in this one, and they will never, again, fight Hanwha Life in a straight-up fight. That is just never going to be on their agenda. Faker is level 16, by the way, in the side lane. 25 minutes.
He has a 2-level advantage when, at the beginning of the game, Miru had basically a free lane to go up against for most of it, because Faker was just in a side lane. Now Faker is, of course, also 26 CS in the lead. And that has to do with the fact that T1 are just playing the side lanes way better than Hanwha Life. And their composition does this, right? Hanwha Life are just forced to play to the beat of T1's drum as Faker is put in the death realm for a little while. Exhaust comes through, as Faker does have flash if he'd like it. Going to use his Zhonya's first, and Death's Grasp not going to be quite enough. As he's got Destiny, Teddy comes in. They want to take down Miru first. Very smart, actually. And then Faker jumps in on top of the Mordekaiser and finishes off the solo kill.
Yeah. TF is not easy to kill. Like, he builds defensively, and we've talked about his levels. He's level 16.
Runs really fast.
He runs so fast. And he stuns you. It's not easy. He's got Zhonya's. He's got Flash. He runs really fast. He's going to avoid all your skill shots. And it's not going to be easy. He's going to buy a lot of time for his team to get over to the split push lane and to help him out. Faker did a great job of surviving for that amount of time. Hanwha Life kind of grasping at straws with that pick.
All right, well, Viper's actually able to get a fair bit of work done here as the Sentry Turret also onto Curry doing a ton of damage as Viper with exactly the right weapons to take down robots does so.
That seems balanced.
Yeah. Just
like
locks down the old Calibrum Crescendo combo. And we saw that in the last time. Let's have a look at what Faker does here.
Said I'm death realm.
나 이거 죽은 거 같아.
Said I think I'm dead.
I think I died. Yep.
본다 이거 본다.
Watch this. Going in. Gets the kill. Nice dodges here by Viper.
Yeah, that sidestep on the hook was actually really clean.
Yeah, and that gets Guri in a position to get 200 years.
Yep.
Years.
200 years from 200 yards away.
Yeah. Well, more like 800,000 yards. It's the way it feels when it happens to you.
Hey, at least it's not unlimited range anymore.
Yeah.
It's sort of along the lines of, like, you remember Twisted Fate, his Destiny Gate used to be his E. You know, it was on like a 20-second cooldown. You could just bounce around the map.
Seems fair.
Yeah, super balanced. As Dudu's getting solid underneath his turret here by Canna. And he's going to be able to lock that one down successfully. Somehow, Aphelios stole the Mountain Drake.
Okay.
Not sure how that happened, but...
Aphelios versus the world.
Yeah, I think that might be the case. As the split push is on, though, guys. And this is what happens. You just lose everything because T1 are not really interested in team fighting
Yeah, it's like nice Mountain Drake. That's not Mountain Soul. Even if it was, I don't even know if they would be too concerned with it. just
They're
because
11,000 gold in the lead. I
Mountain
think they're
Soul doesn't
probably
give
okay.
extra resistances and shields to your buildings, right? So it's like, or your minions, right? That would take away a little bit of power from the split push comp, and that's just not the way it is. So they easily will trade that one for 2 inhibitor turrets. And to bring out an old Papa Smithyism, we almost have a reverse legendary player. Dudu, poor Dudu, 0 and 7. He is very close. In fact, 1 death away.
He almost has to go for it now. I mean, what else is there to go for in this game? I feel like that's probably it. As Faker is very close to full build, does have his rapid fire cannon. I actually love that rapid fire cannon on mages such as Twisted Fate or Bard for the ultra long range CC auto attacks. Very cool. As Dudu puts himself in the Death Realm, I think is what we're saying here. What's better, Death Realm or the Hextech Ultimatum? And I think we know what the answer to that is, especially at this stage of the game.
Well, he had 2 choices. Either he could back off and give the inhibitor and try to join Mountain Drake fight that they somehow force, which, by the way, they're not great at forcing fights. T1 has identified that they have some pick potential, and they're just avoiding it at all costs. I mean, the Thresh has done 0 in this game.
Yeah.
As has the Trundle, it feels like. And
well, now
it was either that or you Death Realm under turret and
oh
pray.
my god, he used the Death's Grasp as a taxi to get closer to the Mordekaiser and the inhibitor. That was genius.
Wow, 5-hit.
That is the kind of play that I would want. Destiny is going to show T1 exactly where Hanwha Life are, and this is called only having bad decisions to make. As Dudu's just going to get murdered underneath Nexus turrets! What the heck, Canna?
Oh man. I actually feel bad for him.
Oh my goodness.
0 and 8 now has been achieved, I suppose, as Kana is not being very nice to the rookie player here from Hanwha Life. Puts him in his own death chamber, and they get the Baron as well. T1 are just crushing this team.
I think that loss to DRX really did affect T1. And a little bit earlier than they were affected by their losses in the spring season. Remember, it was actually a week of not exactly the best, as Miru...
Bullying is not okay, okay?
I think I've seen this like montage video of, look at this broken build!
He even emoted him.
Well, Faker's going to get Moonlight Vigiled. Cuz wishes he had a little bit of extra range. Viper says, I don't need any extra range. My range is unlimited. As we'll see whether the god of the bottom lane is going to be enough to save Hanwha Life. But honestly, the game is being won entirely around the location of the Aphelios. And he's being made redundant, honestly. As, he was trying to go for it. That was actually very cute.
I think if you time it perfectly, you can throw yourself out the back of the Fate's Call as well, out behind the Callista, and bring the guy all the way back. I'm not sure if you have enough time.
I've never seen that one. I have, of course, seen the original combo, but that one would be super cool. Imagine. As we are going to have a look at these top lane minions. There we go. Just have a look at the replay. Mirror.
Yeah, he was on vision as he was killing.
Oh no, he was just outside of the brush. Oh, that's what feels real bad.
Yeah, I mean, he saw him go in the brush, and he was like, okay, you're dead. The thumbs up, too. Kana just has no chill, man. He's like, he put his enemy top laner to 0 and 8, and also he's got to emote the rookie mid laner.
Not very fair. That being said, I think Kana and Miru probably play with each other a lot in solo queue. Probably started at similar times as well. As I'm trying to remember. Yeah. Miru started on Hanwha Life about a year or 2 ago, something like that. And we're just going to see the Trundle die. Very, very quickly, Kana's found his way into the backline. Viper is still alive. But I don't think there's enough years ever anywhere that's going to save them, as Faker makes sure that Miru is not able to get any work done with the ultimate. No one's dead on the side of T1, and they kill turrets extraordinarily quickly. Lehens goes into his stopwatch, but he will be taken down. Mirror also, that was incidental damage, I guess, as Viper Captain Jack cleanse, but honestly, it just does not matter what this Aphelios does because the Nexus has been destroyed. T1 with an absolute blowout against Hanwha Life.
Yeah, not much to say about that one, guys. We are witnessing angry T1.
This is very much angry T1.
Up against Hanwha Life, who are kind of in this strange rebuilding stage where they get Viper into the team and then they're like, wait, top side of the map is still really weak. What do we do about this? Do we try to play our rookies? Do we, try to light a fire under the butts of the veterans? Maybe our rookies can play well. And in the midst of all that, T1 comes in and just bullies them straight to the reverse legendary, to the absolute stomp of it. Oh yeah, I have to give someone POG.
Yeah, you do.
Well, I guess Faker. He had a lot of nice ganks early on.
All right.
That seems like a good vote.
When in doubt, vote for Faker. I think that works out. I think Canna probably deserves at least an honorable mention, but
yeah,
there are a lot of analysts and people voting, so it's likely that it's just going to be, it's like 10 for Canna and then you and the Chinese broadcaster. Like,
no, there's like one
Faker's
media
the
guy
best.
that voted for Curry. It's like a Curry fan or something.
Hey, if he had have landed that last Hook Fate's call combo, maybe that was going to be worthwhile, but definitely a great game from T1. Fantastic to see them bounce back after a very difficult one against DRX earlier in the week. In fact, on our debut game of LCK Summer for 2020. They still have to do it one more time up against Hanwha Life here, and we'll see whether it's going to be Hanwha finding their way to bounce back as a very depressing 1.3k in comparison to 12.7. It looks a little bit like the decimal place is in the wrong position there. In the jungle, it's not how that one worked. In fact, Cuz got a lot of work done as far as damage, my god.
Yeah. He was landing those big spears towards the mid to late game. I guess the late game was like 30 minutes in this one.
Look at how linear that graph is, though. That's just... And we won.
Yeah.
It was very, very cool, calm, and collected from T1. Yeah, really smooth. But it was actually playing an optimal split push the way it should be played, absolutely dismantling any way that Aphelios is supposed to win. And I imagine that Dynamics are just looking at this going, oh, man, I forgot that if you have a teamfight comp, then maybe you go against them with a split push, like the rock, paper, scissors of League of Legends strategy.
Yeah, perhaps. Keep in mind that Hanwha Life did give T1 the TF, which I think is a mistake. I think for draft for the next game, probably want to avoid that.
Yep, maybe we'll ban that one out of the way, but we'll see what happens after the break.